The charismatic Enigma is on the market. We have a lot to get into on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling. If you haven't jumped into the conversation yet, do it today and get on screen. We also have news about Stone Cold and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. They are indeed going to be doing something. Is it a match? We're not exactly sure. Miro is set to possibly return to action for AEW, and we have news about his current deal, or rather the new one he has. Brock Lesnar speaks about why he came back to the WWE last year. We'll get into all of it and so much more on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling top story of the day. Share the link or you stink!
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Watch out, watch out,
watch out!
Watch out! It is 3 beards and 1 full head of hair. We'll take it. We'll take it. Thank you, Jeremy. You got all the follicles for us. I'm Kevin. That is Jose, and that is Jeremy Bennett. We are with you once again, 5 days a week, taking your questions on screen. Let the people at Sportskeeda know that you guys ride hard with the Watch Out Boys. All right. I know there's a lot of Sportskeeda.
Is that our name?
Content.
Is that our faction name? The Watch Out Boys?
We're Watch Out Gang, dude.
Like this?
We're Watch Out Gang, baby.
Maybe.
Watch out! Watch out!
We're doing 90s W. What are we doing here?
Or we could do the Weezer W. We could do either one. We're the Watch Out Gang. Maybe we do some merch with that too. We also have to do a Watch Out T-shirt. We have to do that too. Love seeing the diehards with us. If you're with us for the first time, get on screen and join the conversation. News today about the Hardy Boys. News today about Steve Austin and how he feels about this upcoming thing at WrestleMania, because we have to call it a thing because it isn't a match. Apparently.
We don't know what it is.
Big news about Brock Lesnar and so much more. We'll also get your comments and everything on screen. If you're with us for the first time, don't make it the last time. Turn those notifications on Facebook and YouTube so you can join us live. If you're with us on the podcast side of things, give us a review. Give us a 5-star review. It really helps us climb up the ladder. Thank you to all the people who have put us on the podcast charts, the Apple Wrestling Podcast charts, in over 6 different countries in the top 200. We really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Let's get right into it. The news of the day is Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy, his free agency is finally up. He abruptly was released by WWE 3 months ago, and he gets the regular 90-day non-compete clause for main roster talent here. The circumstances of his release were pretty controversial. He had a bad night, as some people described it, and it was all filmed, and he appeared somehow not with it in a 6-man tag match where he laid on the apron and left the ring during the match and kind of just exited through the crowd and took selfies with people. And WWE wanted him to get a drug test, and he didn't want to do it, and then he did it, and then the results didn't come back. And before the results came back, they wanted him to go to rehab. Jeff has a documented history of substance issues. If you're a casual wrestling fan, I think people sort of know about that. That isn't making light of any issues that Jeff has had. So he's upset about that, says it's not the case. This wasn't what was going on. WWE releases him before those results come back. Then they offer for him to come back to the company after they release him. He still demands his test results. He doesn't get them. They offer him a Hall of Fame spot, reportedly. It is all reported, right? It's a very, very messy situation. But he's been scheduling all these different dates with his brother, Matt, who's now with All Elite Wrestling, to do kind of like a reunion tour again and get on the road. And everyone expects him to show up in All Elite Wrestling. And even a few weeks ago, he said it publicly at a meet and greet event doing one of his music shows, and then kind of backpedaled on that statement on social media. So the expectation is he shows up in All Elite Wrestling. Could that mean he shows up in All Elite Wrestling tonight, the first Dynamite after the Revolution pay-per-view this weekend?
Maybe. I don't know. I think I want to think Private Party has a match tonight or something. That I think there's something that's going to set up at least Hardy leaving the HFO tonight. So I don't know if we'll necessarily see Jeff tonight. It's possible. Maybe the HFO or the AHFO beat him down and Jeff makes the save, or they set it up for Jeff to come back to make his debut next week when as they set up the story this week instead. So it'll be interesting to see. What is also interesting to see is the fact that Tony Khan is trying to get the iconic Hardy Boys theme music, which is not a WWE song. It is a song that they licensed. So Tony Khan is actually trying to work to get that. Imagine if that music hits.
Woo! That pop will be massive, man.
My God, that would be insane once that music hits. So I don't know if it's tonight or not. I was looking around. look at trying to find the lineup, which is insane. You got
Danielson and Moxley will tag team tonight with William Regal in their corner.
Just announced.
Yeah,
that's cool. Dante Martin and Hangman for the title.
Ooh, man, you know what? Especially coming off of a big pay-per-view that you did on Sunday, you want to, the aftermath show. You want to have something big in the chamber. I can't think of anything bigger than the chamber than bringing in a Jeff Hardy and reuniting him with Matt. Will that happen tonight? I don't know. But the signals are there, man. The signals are there.
We've had multiple people talk to us about this. Victor Nash bringing this up. No, Jeff Hardy won't be on AEW tonight. His non-compete clause isn't over until at midnight. We've heard a lot of people talk about that. I talked to some people last week that I know who are familiar with people in WWE, and they say it is different with everyone. That case is very different with everyone. The specifics of it are very, very different with everyone. But there were some people that absolutely 100% confirmed that Jeff Hardy should have not said that he was signing with AEW while he was on a non-compete, because you're still getting paid. You're still getting paid for that. And so are you free to negotiate? I guess it's different for everyone else.
Plus, today's the 90th day. Typically on those contracts, 12:01 a.m. is one on that 90th day is when you're free and clear. So I've heard from other people where it isn't that case. We have the issue with, Aleister Black, now Malachi Black. People thought, he's 90 days because he was wrestling, but he was still working under an NXT deal, and those deals have different parameters to them. So I could see some of these changing, especially in the last few years where WWE made different changes to all their different deals during the pandemic because they didn't know what it was going to be like when it started or how long it was going to be drawn out. So it certainly is interesting here. Emergency board meeting of the AHFO tonight.
All right, so that is the combined faction of Andrade and Hardy's guys, right? So so we have an emergency board meeting because they, of course, lost the pay-per-view, and there'll be more reckoning there.
I'd say 50-50. I'd say it's either going to get set up for next week or Jeff's making the save tonight. I think
that's a safe bet. I think that's a very safe bet, Jeremy. I think if it's not tonight, it's going to be next week. It has to be because we've been seeing these little hints for the last few weeks, ever since Matt Hardy hasn't been winning these matches, or the AHFO hasn't been winning.
He walked out of the ring. He did a match where he walked out of the ring.
He's been throwing all these signals out.
He recreated Jeff Hardy leaving the ring. The part that he got him fired from WWE. He recreated that in a private party match.
So that's the idea. So that's what we're expecting here. Kind of a packed Dynamite. So it's pretty sweet. Look forward to that. Full results and active conversation about that over at sportskeeda.com. By the way, you only have less than 48 hours to vote in the Sportskeeda Wrestling Awards. Go vote there. We have plenty of interviews up with people offering their votes. Renee Paquette offered her votes. We have Dirty Dutch Mantel. He just put up one today talking about who he thinks are the best wrestlers, who's the best babyface, who's the best heel. You can go vote now, and your vote enters you to win a brand new Xbox X Series gaming console, plus including wrestling merch and so much more. Go vote now, all right? And you can vote once on each browser. People asking how many times can I vote? You vote once on each browser if you're doing that. So go ahead and go vote, and share the word with everyone else. Over 100,000 fans across the world have voted in this. Let's jump into our next story here, gentlemen. This one interesting.
Before we head into our second story, we do have a quick announcement, a programming announcement for you guys that are loyal watchers of the debrief. Unfortunately, the debrief has been canceled until further notice. We are doing some restructuring on some of the live shows that we do here on Sportskeeda. Stay tuned because we will be launching another type of review show right now for the until further notice. Right now, the debrief until further notice is canceled. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, guys, to give you that news today, but again, don't worry. We are coming back with another type of review show, hopefully with a celebrity. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on the pipeline, but wanted to give you guys that news first here on the top story.
Especially the diehards are with us all the time here. So some people not happy about it. Hey, not our call. I have no problem saying that.
If you guys feel really strongly about it, let your voices be heard. Email Sportskeeda, send them a message on socials. If you really feel that strongly about it and you really want to keep your programming, sound off in the comments. Sound off. We have no control on the programming, guys. So, but we appreciate your support and we love you and we thank you for all the support. And we had a great run with the debrief.
Yeah.
But sometimes great things have to come to an end in order to get something better. So again, thank you again for the support. Again, no debrief tonight. So let's move on to our second story.
And also thank you to the people that ride hard with us here on Top Story as well. You guys put up numbers and share the show and all those different things. So once again, continue to support this show. Share the link. Tag your wrestling buddies. Go get the wrestling podcast version of the audio podcast version of it. It helps as well. If you're watching on Facebook, all right, maybe I want to check it out on YouTube. Well, you can watch this on your television then too. I know it's pretty easy to do on Roku and all that good stuff. Some people asking, we want to do a show where we can get on camera with you guys. We're working on something like that.
We're working on a lot of things,
and we will reach out. We will reach out to the diehard fans first when we do that. Let's jump into story number 2. Stone Cold Steve Austin is set here. This was the big social media firestorm yesterday. A clever move by WWE to do this, just less than 24 hours after Kevin Owens officially called him out for a match that we all saw coming. A match. Is it a match? Stone Cold said in his promo that was seen by millions yesterday on social media that it doesn't matter if it's a match, it's a KO show, or it's a brawl. It's going to be happening. I'm going to kick your ass. I got one more ass whooping in this can for you, all right? He's going to crack one of those open.
What?
Now, we're getting more details about this, and WWE is definitely advertising this as a KO show segment at WrestleMania. You can see the official banner art that they've put out there. So that is kind of clarifying the situation. I could see some people wanting the match and saying, unless it's a match, it isn't as special as it could be, and it isn't this. But my thing is, and some people saying, it's false advertising. That's bullshit, because they never once said he's having a match.
No,
never once.
That was dirt sheet stuff.
Yeah, that was dirt sheet stuff. So WWE never once told you Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to have a full-on match.
Exactly.
Not once. And
we never said that here either.
No, we're following with all the news that we can aggregate here. And talking to people in the business, they said there's something. Stone Cold's doing something at WrestleMania. That's all we got, right? And now we know what that is. What's the update on this? Because we kind of have more insight on how Steve Austin is feeling about this, reportedly.
Looks like just simply Dave Meltzer said internally it's listed as a confrontation. So not a match or anything like that. Though, I mean, it is interesting if you watch the promo that Stone Cold put out yesterday. He didn't dance around it. Plus, Stone Cold, commentary. A lot of people have mentioned he hasn't wrestled in 19 years. I mean, if it was just a confrontation, they wouldn't be mentioning these things, really. Because Stone Cold's been physical with it over the past 19 years.
So what's the appeal about this time where he's coming back? Yeah. And it's not, he's not going to be, he's done the special guest referee thing a handful of times, right?
Yeah.
He's been inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he came out and did, the big, run the ATV around the ring and had the fun surprise the last time they were at WrestleMania in Texas, right? And that was cool. And those were all great. This is being sold in a very, very different way. And it's an interesting thing that they're choosing to do this now, that he's choosing to do this now. But the word is Steve doesn't want to taint his legacy. He doesn't want to go out there and do something that makes him not remembered the way he could. And for 19 years, he's been able to go out there and do some stunners. And he can do that, and he knows he can do that. You've never seen him take a bump in 19 years.
Yeah.
Very true. And I also think here, when you look at The Undertaker's career and when he had that match in Saudi Arabia, or even that match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, Undertaker looks back at those matches and he says that those were terrible matches when he looks back at them. And I think that's something that Stone Cold is trying to avoid in order to, to put something like that. But one thing that I can assure everyone that's watching right now and that is going to watch WrestleMania, Stone Cold will get physical. Into what capacity? We don't know. But he will get physical.
It could just be a train of Texas legends just beating the hell out of Kevin. Which would be fun too. I mean, you see Booker T's music hit, JBL's music hits.
Kevin Von Erich is here, like some deep cut like that. Iceman Parsons, like just weird deep cuts from World Class.
That would be kind of cool too to see. But I would, I mean, if Steve can go and he's down for it, 100%, I would absolutely love to see one final legit 7-8 minute match.
do they do the reveal at WrestleMania? Is this just all a big tease for him to say, like, no, I'm not just here to talk to you, dude. Like, let's not get this twisted.
I brought
He comes
somebody
in
with
gear.
me.
He comes in gear. He just rips off his jean shorts.
Yeah,
and
he does. He does the Magic Mike pull-away shorts. It's like, bam! Look at these thighs. They're ready to go.
He's like, I brought somebody with me, and out comes Earl Hebner.
That'd be wild, dude. That'd be wild.
It would be wild. It's certainly shaping up to be an interesting WrestleMania if that's the case.
Yeah. So other people asking all these different questions here. Ricky Costello, it'd be cool if he came out on the four-wheeler again.
That's a guarantee because that ramp's probably going to be long as hell.
Yeah. Maybe Steve will drive some people to the ring. Jamie Blake saying, I'm all for him wrestling a match, but after 19 years, the stunner is fine. So he's okay with just the idea of just like a physical kind of promo and confrontation type thing here. Yeah. People saying, Stephen Chambers saying, WWE needs to do one to one-up Sting at Revolution. I don't think WWE cares about that at all, to be frank with you. I don't think that's
Austin ain't going to be diving off a balcony either.
No, and he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to either. He doesn't need to have a WrestleMania moment to have people, feel that at all. And also people saying 80,000 saying, what? Yeah,
what?
Yes. The reaction for Stone Cold will be astronomical. What did that box just say to me? Did you just press a button in the box and it says what?
What?
Oh, I thought it was what if it was like a little tiny guy. He show for everyone in the podcast. He's holding up a Funko Pop and it just says what? What?
You should check out the show yesterday. We started off the show with the Funko Pops on screen. It was great.
They were talking to each other.
What? Yes. Miro. News about him. He has been on the shelf for All Elite Wrestling for months now. And we did hear that his contract was coming up in the spring of 2022. Reportedly, he has signed an extension that will keep him with All Elite Wrestling until 2026. This would be one of the longest extensions that All Elite Wrestling has offered to anyone. This would be an interesting one as well. Apparently, he's waiting for clearance on a knee injury that has been bothering him. He also had a hamstring issue as well. Last time he wrestled was at Full Gear in a losing effort against Bryan Danielson. Jeremy, your take on this. Miro was quite the stud, had the TNT championship, had hot periods, had cold periods, had a soft start, I think, in All Elite Wrestling. The stuff with Kip Sabian kind of went nowhere fast, but his TNT title run was pretty hot, and that match with Bryan Danielson was pretty fun here, but injury bugs, something that bothered him in WWE, catching him with him here in All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, and I think they realized quickly that they needed to present Miro in a badass way, and they did eventually get around to that. Though the stuff with Kip Sabian was good, and some of the matches in the feuds were good too. But because Miro does have a great personality, so they were just wanting to show that in a different side of Miro. But we all knew the way that they needed to present Miro is the way they did when he won the TNT title. I think he had I think he had some neck issues as well. Yes, so he had a myriad of things. And a lot of people, especially Sean Ross Sapp, was surprised to learn that his contract expired this spring. He did not expect that to be expiring this quickly. And of course, Sean had teased on Monday that he had some AEW contract news, and this is what that was. So now he is re-upped for 4 years. And good to see that, because I'm sure as soon as he's 100%, he's probably going to be in contention for not the TNT title, but I think the world title.
Yeah, I think this is a great sign for Miro. I'm a big Miro fan. I've been very vocal on my opinion on what they've done with Miro and how they handled his title reign over there in AEW. And I'm just a massive fan of Miro. He started getting his legs under him when he started doing well with that TNT championship. They were presenting him almost like a Brock Lesnar-like character, where he was just completely unstoppable and putting on some incredible matches. We do know that he was dealing with an array of injuries, the neck being one of the major ones, which is why he's been on the shelf this whole time. So the fact that the company decided to re-sign him and he decided to stay on for another 4 years, that makes me think that they have big hopes for him down the line once he's 100% healthy, and he is going to be among those names with the Kenny Omegas, with the Daniel Bryans, or the Daniel Bryanson, or Bryan Danielson, John Moxley's, all those guys, those top echelon guys. Miro's going to be part of that conversation once he's 100%.
I mean, it's a guy you want to keep in the fold. As much as people don't want to say this, you don't want to come up to that window of his deal coming up, and then he's on the table. I think this is a position that All Elite Wrestling is in, where they want to prove to their TV partners that they want to retain as many equitable names as they possibly can, while they're still trying to develop people. And you need that. You need a guy who has TV experience. You need a guy who knows how to frame the camera. They have a lot of guys in All Elite Wrestling who are very, very talented, but don't know how to wrestle on television, or at least wrestle on television at the level of experience and timing that some of the WWE guys can, some of the Impact guys can, or just some of those guys who've been wrestling for 10, 15 years at this level. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of younger talent that needs a Miro. They need him. They need a guy like him to get the best out of their younger talent. And so losing him would be a big hit. It's a smart move. Shore him up. Lock him in. You can call it hoarding talent, whatever you want, because there's other guys they have that are in the same position that they're not doing anything with. A Christopher Daniels, a Kazarian, Brian Cage got re-upped, and what are they doing with him? But I understand it, because you don't want them going to the competition. It's competition. Mm-hmm. So you want to be competitive? Well, I don't want that guy leaving just yet. If we can keep him for a while, let's do it. This is a different case with Miro. You're signing him up for 4 more years. This will be, this is a long, long contract for a guy at his age who's had those injuries. So good for him, and maybe even a sign of him having a career outside of the ring for All Elite Wrestling too.
Yeah, and it should be noted really quick too here that Lana, CJ Perry on social media had recently put a post of both of them, both looking absolutely great and gorgeous as always, because they're just great looking people. Mm-hmm. But on the caption,
I like that you give them a compliment as a couple.
That's nice. Absolutely. I give props where I need to give props, man. So but in the
they're
caption,
a couple of sexy beasts.
Yeah, they are. In the caption, CJ Perry had put down, will you be seeing me in AEW soon? ? That's it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, beforehand, she had a lot of acting gigs and stuff going on, and so she was just too busy for AEW. So it'll be interesting, if she's going to actually return with him.
People asking, when is he coming back? It's not exactly clear. When he's coming back. We're waiting for him to get cleared, So we'll see what happens here in the next little bit. Let's jump into news about Brock Lesnar.
No,
we got the Seth Rollins story.
We got Seth Rollins story.
Brock leaned up there.
Yes, Brock leaned up there. We'll get into the Brock story here in a second. So Seth Rollins, this is interesting. He blocked out his social media. So everything on his social media is blocked out. Why is that? Why is he doing this? What does this mean?
He's distraught.
He's distraught after losing that tag team match and not getting himself a match at WrestleMania. He's so distraught. Now he's just going to wear all black. He's in mourning for his WrestleMania dream. But is there another dream for him? Is there a WrestleMania dream?
Or is it, if it's not a dream, Kevin, it's probably a nightmare.
Oh, I love how I threw that one up and you guys
put that on a T.
What do you think here? I know a lot of chatter about this. I'm sorry for jumping to the next story here.
Well, that was clearly the dream scenario for Cody Rhodes, and now there's an opening. So here you go. But I don't know if that's what's on the cards or what exactly.
Of course, if you don't get what we're referencing, Cody Rhodes leaves All Elite Wrestling a few weeks ago. Much anticipation that he's jumping to All Elite Wrestling, though there has been no update about that, and he is not saying anything. When asked for comment to Fightful, he just responded with a picture of his dogs. So this is a guy who's playing it close to the chest. We've heard many reports that maybe his offer would have been more incentive to him to jump to WWE after leaving All Elite Wrestling, but only if it was a surprise. But that prize is kind of spoiled by him publicly announcing that he's leaving All Elite Wrestling, and that builds up anticipation for him going to WWE or going somewhere else. There are multiple offers on the table for him. We do know that within the industry. Who's offering what is not 100% clear. But obviously WWE would want him, and they would want him soon. And WWE's obviously pouring some money into big names right now. Maybe that's what they want to spend their money on talent, is keeping someone like Kevin Owens in the fold and keeping a Sami Zayn and spending big money for a Stone Cold Steve Austin segment. Is Cody Rhodes the next destination for a Seth Rollins at WrestleMania?
Now here, Victor Nash in the chat with Corey Graves. Now I tell you what, I'm for a guy that is possibly returning after 8 years. That would be a good guy in the ring to carry a match with a returning Corey Graves.
Yeah.
So he could start something with just go nuts on Graves on commentary next week on Raw and set that up. That would be pretty. If Cody ain't in the picture, that's the next best thing in my opinion, is setting something up with Graves.
I mean, it's Seth Rollins. You got to have him do something at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be criminal. I understand where there's some guys that we like that don't make the cut for WrestleMania, and that's going to happen. There's going to be someone we really, really like who doesn't get featured on WrestleMania, or is hurt and we don't know it, or it's just like a healthy scratch and it's like, no, we're going to save you until after WrestleMania. You know, there's plenty of talents like that. But Seth Rollins is healthy. He's ready to go right now. He's been having some great tag team matches with Kevin Owens, but obviously they're not going to have a tag team match at WrestleMania now.
They had some great tag moves and stuff there, man. That
closing finish, that finish is amazing.
That's so good.
Like they had some real bangers on television. I know people crap on Monday Night Raw, but they've been stealing the show on that show for a couple weeks now. He's got to be on WrestleMania. You got to be doing something with him.
Yeah, he's not going to be doing the Andre the Giant thing. I don't think. I don't know what's going to happen though. I think
I don't know if I'm going to catch heat for saying this statement right now, but I feel that Seth Rollins is almost like the modern day Mr. WrestleMania. Like this generation's, every time he's featured on a WrestleMania, he puts on a hell of a match, right? It either be in the Performance Center with Kevin Owens, or either be one-on-one with Triple H. He always finds a way to put on an amazing match at WrestleMania. It's almost unfathomable to think that there's a possibility that Seth Rollins may not be on the card this year.
I don't know. I think he's setting something up with this, though.
Yeah.
I think so too. It's an angle. It's definitely an angle.
It's got to be an angle. We're too smart for you. We're too smart for you, Seth. We're too smart for you.
Let's jump into our last story here, guys.
Finally, this Brock story that I was trying to jump to.
Giddy up.
Giddy up. Cowboy Brock is happy to be in the WWE. Why did he return to WWE? An interesting thing here. Some recent interviews Brock is doing on the road to WrestleMania. We have a happier, smiling Brock, which is not a Brock we've seen. We've always heard that Brock doesn't like doing media, but here he is doing, sit down, candid interviews with Pat McAfee. He's body slamming little people through tables for Jackass. He's having fun. Brock looks like he's having a fun time out there and playing a baby face and doing a different version of his character, but still, playing all the hits and suplexing people and giving F5s and being a beast. So why did he return to WWE when probably has offers on the table from UFC? He's kind of clarified this. What's the latest, guys?
Cha-ching.
Yes. Cha-ching is yes. Right. Jeremy nailed it right on there, man. Yeah, so Brock Lesnar recently had an interview with the Michael Kay show, and they were talking about a different array of topics, but when the subject of retirement came up, he had explained that back when he was younger, in his 20s, he said that he wanted to retire when he was 40. And he actually retired when COVID hit back in 2020 when he dropped the title to Drew McIntyre. Mm-hmm. He goes on to explain that the way that he retired came full circle for him because when he first started in pro wrestling, he was in Hamel, Minnesota, in a garage in front of no people. And 20 years later, being the WWE heavyweight champion of the world, wrestling his last match in a warehouse in front of no people, it just came full circle. So when the question came out, why come out of retirement? Cha-ching. The money was there.
He just said the money was there. I appreciate his candid humor about it. He's always been kind of open. Like, am I passionate about wrestling? To a degree, yeah. Do I want people to see me have a bad performance? No. But am I as passionate about wrestling as I am about other things? Maybe not. But he's always just been kind of open. And it seems like he's more passionate about the relationships he has with people now. I remember watching the McAfee interview. He kind of said, yeah, I had a bad relationship with Vince McMahon for a while, but when I left WWE, I realized how much I learned from him, and I was able to make better deals for myself because I dealt with Vince McMahon. I was able to do things that I wanted to do, and he almost said I enjoyed my working relationship with Vince a little bit more than Dana. Not to say Dana was bad, but he's Vince was a father figure, and I didn't realize it until I was suing him. I was leaving WWE and all these different things. This is a different Brock. I have always appreciated his openness and how unguarded he is. And certainly he does things that are political. He's a guy who's turned down big matches. He doesn't want to do certain things that maybe fans wanted him to do. But this is a fun Brock, and I think people are enjoying it. Also, he has not had a bad match since he came back.
Bro, Brock is the new people's champion, man. He's the new people's champion. People love Brock, and Brock loves people.
Mm-hmm. People like Sutherland texting here saying, "Who knew Brock had jokes? Best version of him in a while." Really enjoying that. People really cool to see Brock having a good time. Definitely interesting here. And also I also think Brock and that Reigns match is going to be over in a month. I know people are saying that we've seen this match too many times, but that match is still over. If you saw the tape from Madison Square Garden where you get the real temperament of the WWE casual and diehard fan together, you're talking MSG, New York City, people were into that. When they were in the ring, people were not quiet. They were getting off their feet. Delayed gratification, a match we were supposed to get in January, we didn't get. Reigns got COVID. Now you're getting, am I saying it's the best match they've ever had? Not exactly, but I do think it's going to deliver and maybe even exceed expectations. That's just my take now. I could change before that. They could lose me before we get to WrestleMania. It's still, we still have a couple more weeks here to go. Other people saying Brock is right up there with Taker and Austin in terms of closeness to McMahon. I bet in terms of a guy who's like working on deals and different things like that here. Marla, you got something?
Just announced for Impact Multiverse of Matches, WrestleMania weekend, Friday, April 1st at WrestleCon. The Good Brothers against the Briscoe Brothers.
Woo! That's a hell of a match.
Were you guys thinking about going to that
show? Is that a nighttime show?
I don't know if we'll have time, dude, because we got SmackDown, we got the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's
we
it.
May have Mania.
Night.
Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff going on that week. Man.
It's 9 p.m. Central on Friday the 1st.
Yeah, that's right when the Hall of Fame is, man. That's right when the Hall of Fame is.
You're gonna be there, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be at the Hall of Fame. So
too,
there's
Jose?
so much going on in Dallas.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
There's so many things going on in Dallas that are like right on top of each other. There is something really cool. We're doing that Friday afternoon. I know for sure. I got an update about that today. It's pretty cool. I can't say what it is just yet. If you're not following us on socials, do it. Like just follow all of us individually on socials. If you're not following us on Twitter, we're gonna be posting a lot of fun things on Twitter, like random stuff. And also, and there may be things that we like pop up and do breaking news videos, like WrestleMania week. Content overload, and I know you have a lot of options, but if you ride with us, I guarantee you're going to be happy with it. And we're going to give you all the fun things. We're going to do a bunch of goofy shit too. I plan on that. I plan on doing as many man-child on the street things we can come up with. If you're going to WrestleMania, we want to meet you.
Look us up.
Yeah. Look us up, dude.
Hit us up on the socials. Yeah, absolutely.
And you will realize my head is as big as it looks on the screen, even bigger and fatter. So a lot to cover here, a lot to come on the weeks to come. If you haven't done already, once again, vote in the Sportskeeda Wrestling Awards. Time is coming up short. We want you to win that gaming console. We want you to win that wrestling merch. We want you to have your voice heard. Sportskeeda.com/wrestling-awards. It is sportskeeda.com/wrestling-awards. You can vote once, so definitely go and hit that up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube, making the march to 27,000. If you want these listicles, I just want to hear the top fives. Well, we've launched a new channel. We've launched a new side channel, our side project, right? Okay? Our side dealie.
Side chick.
Right?
It's our side chick.
Okay. Yeah. We have a polyamorous wrestling we have a poly relationship with our video content. Sure. Come on, baby. So come on, you Sportskeeda YouTube. You're a main girl. This is just our weekend. Wrestling. Sorry.
Round the way,
Wrestle
girl.
Binge. Search Wrestle Binge by Sportskeeda. We have many videos there. Just top 5 lists, breaking everything down. Shout out to Sam Laterna for joining the team as well. Yeah. She's doing a great job on our top 5 videos there. And we'll be dropping some cool stuff like the Mania Minute. That's what Jose and I are working on. So it's going to be pretty.
You guys are going to really enjoy that. We already got quite a few in the chamber here. They're going to be dropping really soon. So you can watch that on Reels. It's going to be available on Reels and on Shorts and on TikTok. Sportskeeda just opened up the TikTok. So make sure you follow the Sportskeeda Wrestling TikTok channel because we're putting a lot of our stuff up there too.
Loved it. Steven
Chambers here setting up. Before we sign off here, you just want to do a round table on this one? Dolph Ziggler winning the WWE.
That was insane. That was insane last night. I had my mouth was wide. I was like, what just happened?
So was Breakers.
But I'm digging it. I'm digging it though. I like it.
A lot of people were down on this move. I saw a lot of people very, very upset about this. Like, oh, how could you do this if NXT is if this whole new rebuild is just about new talent? You know
what this does? This gets the NXT title on WrestleMania, possibly.
It could.
Has Dolph had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania ever? I don't know if he held the world title.
I want to say he has.
Okay.
I want to say
I was wondering if he was one of the guys that never had one.
No, I want to say he's had one. I can't recall it.
And maybe this would be
not only that, Jeremy, but to your point, this also kind of fast tracks Braun Breaker's move up to the main roster. In my opinion.
Does it?
Yeah, there's rumors that
There's
rumors that him and LA Knight are moving up. And if you watched last night's NXT, there was a lot of indications there that they could very well be done with NXT pretty soon.
But then also like the idea that everyone says like, oh, NXT is just about developmental. It's about developing guys. Why is it then, if it's comparative to what you do with other sports leagues where you have a AAA team to develop players, that's got to be about redeveloping guys and reinvigorating guys.
What they do
guys who get lost in the shot. Yes. So then you have like a stud guy who's been with you for a long time, who's under contract, and you know he's not going anywhere, like a Dolph Ziggler, all right? You know there's time left on his deal. You know he's, for lack of a better phrase, a W life, or he could go wrestle somewhere else if he wanted to, right? That you put that guy on NXT, big deal. AJ Styles was a tag team player for the last year. You want to get him ready to be a singles player. All right, we're going to go do this warm-up feud with you and Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller gets the rub of being with AJ Styles. AJ Styles reminds you he's phenomenal. Here we go. He's ready for Edge, right? So, like, if NXT serves that purpose, is that bad? Logically? Like, the logic makes sense to me. And I'm okay with it. I think it's a cool idea. Also, if Dolph drops this title to a younger guy, then that guy benefits. He didn't just beat another guy at his level. He beat a guy who's already a level up from him. Dolph's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Everyone knows that. So, like, that's what this is supposed to be. Like, so I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with it. It was exciting and cool, and Dolph's a shitty heel. He uses his money to win a title.
Sometimes you need something unexpected like this to get eyes on the product.
All the people that are mad about it didn't watch the match. The amount of people that just heard, I was in a thread with friends.
It was a good-ass match.
This is such bullshit. I thought this was just about, I was like, are you guys watching it? Did you watch the match? And they're like, well, no. I was like, yeah, well, then why? Why do you care then?
That was a really good match.
That NXT crowd's starting to boo Braun too now, if you noticed in that match last night.
Oh, they were
but they're not
Braun,
quiet,
and they were booing MSK really hard last night too.
Which is odd too, right?
Which was very odd because
must have been half off for smart marks last night.
Oh, that's that Orlando crowd, bro. That's that Orlando crowd.
David Barkley,
let's get out of here, boys.
Did he get demoted from AAA to MLB? Sure, whatever. He's still in the pros, man. I don't care. It's fun. All right, we're out of here, boys. We'll be back tomorrow. It'll be another fun edition of Sportskeeda Wrestling right around 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. Keep your notifications on. If we have breaking news, we'll pop on with it. So go ahead and give us a subscribe if you haven't done so already. And remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing, which is what?
You have to enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
Let me talk to you.
What?
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!